nothing else. You have to know
I know
yourself.
myself, so that's why I know I don't have to ask white man for anything or beg him for anything.
Right,
I know that we
right,
can,
but I'm
anything, the
still.
decisions that we make, we always think to include them. If you have something to do, let's ask the white man if you could do this.
No.
I'm free. I am free.
No,
The white man don't ask
when
us
I
no
say to
question when we
ask
go do
questions,
anything.
I'm saying to ask your mother, your father,
Yeah, but I'm
your
saying,
grandmother,
I
your
personally, I'm past all of that.
great-grandmother.
Personally, I'm past all of that. Personally,
You never
me.
be past that. See,
Because
that's
I
a
already
mistake.
connected, and so I've passed that. I already connected with all my people in the past, so that's why I feel such a great future. We're going to get that great past back again in the future. You see what I'm saying? Because I already connect with them. I'm feeling them right now.
Yeah, let me kind of respond to that maybe in another way, because I think in part you're saying the same thing. You see, you're talking about subtext. In other words, she's talking about subtext in terms of going deeper in terms of your immediate family, maybe here. I mean, we are part of, obviously, the same family. And I think, in general, we know that. But depending on where the family grew up, whether it's in Alabama, whether it's in Mississippi, whether it's in Alabama up north, like in Connecticut, you know, your subtext is a little different. It might be a little bit different if you grew up on the farm as opposed to in an urban area. So I don't think we're saying anything different. I think just based on the feedback that I've heard here, there is a recognition of a kinship. You know, and so in terms of, for example, Hartford, the information that blacks here have on Hartford is minuscule. I mean, they just don't know. There are some caricatures, stereotypes about what they were doing. The brother who mentioned, for example, the blacks who lived around Bushnell Park, the businesses that were on Pearl Street, people don't know about it. Most people here don't know about it.
My grandfather had a business on Ford Street.
If you talk to many blacks who grew up here, you know, based on where they grew up, they will tell you this is only where blacks, you know, were. And of course, what I did is I went and looked at the 1950 census tract. There are 41 census tracts. Blacks were in all of them. Of course, there are places where blacks were a larger number, but basically, we were all over the city. So there's a lot of re-education here that has to be done in terms of how people understand their immediate, you know, past in terms of Hartford. So I think
Most we're not immediate.
yeah. It's immediate, you know, because we know about the family. I'm sorry, Celestia, you had.
Yeah. I wanted to say I'm a 9-year-old at Martin Luther King Elementary School. How is this going to help me to know about grandparents or about stores back in the 1920s? I need to be able to make it, I have a goal. I want to be a violinist. How does all this pass?
It's going to attract you.
Yeah, it's going to attract me.
Oh, okay, say you want to be a violinist.
What, yeah, you know, that's just an example. I'm saying, you know, how does this help?
Okay, then he might know somebody in this family that was a musician. Or they knew somebody was a musician.
But maybe my parents aren't interested. My parents are, I'm 9 and my parents are 30. You know, and they're just going to work every
Well, see,
day.
now, this is where, when we were kids, there was some, we had someone that taught us how to dance, Rasmus Walker taught us how to dance. And, that's where you got the Artist Collective now. We had charm schools. We had, teachers, piano teachers that taught piano. They taught piano in their homes. So we knew this. You knew the families and whatnot, and you were home, and they would say, "Okay, we're going to teach you this." But now, you know, you got the Artist Collective in different things. But if somebody want to take violin, you ask around.
think for me, being probably 12, when this process took place for me, the difference was before I began to get knowledge of myself, before I started to learn about our Kemetan origin, our ancient Egyptian origin, and the things that we contributed, black people contributed to the global development of mankind. Before I knew those things, I would be, and I was one of those few that would admit it, I would be insecure. I grew up in an area, I think for me, being probably 12, when this process took place for me, the difference was before I began to get knowledge of myself, before I started to learn about our Kemetan origin, our ancient Egyptian origin, and the things that we contributed, black people contributed to the global development of mankind. Before I knew those things, I would be, and I was one of those few that would admit it, I would be insecure. I grew up in an area, Virginia Beach, I don't know if anybody knows, but it's very culturally diverse. It's a lot of white people, a lot of black people, whatever, and you come into a lot of situations where I grew up in a poor neighborhood where it was hood. It was as hood as it can get. But right up the street, it was as Hollywood as it can get. And you would find yourself in so many situations, libraries, McDonald's, grocery stores, everywhere, where you would be around a bunch of white people. And for me, I felt a sense of insecurity. Even especially if something about my cultural past was attacked, I would really feel insecure. And I would always be aware that I was the only black person in the room. And it would make me feel, some type of way, confused a little bit. But when I was armed with the knowledge of who my ancestors were, I'm superior. I went through a phase where I felt like, okay, now I'm the only black man in here. What? So it gave me a sense of vigor to go ahead and keep searching and learning my history. And now I take a stance where I'm standing in front of the library and police officers trying to take my civil rights, and I'm standing for it only because I know who I am and who I was and who my people were. If I really bought the perception that was fed to me for so long, I would have said, oh, they the police, and went ahead and took it. So for me, that's what the difference is. I think that's why it helps for us to know where we were.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jelani. Go ahead, Jelani.
Well, first I want to make a suggestion, and that suggestion is, with your permission, Elder and Mother and Elder, to meet with, or to set up a meeting with the elders, as many elders as possible here in Hartford, and set up like an interview, and just let them, voice their memories, and re-record that session. You see, if something's like what they did, I would be glad to head that up, because I'm very, very interested in what happened. And for Mother over here, with her 9-year-old son, her 9-year-old daughter, it's simple. She needs to learn things like Mozart was her color, Beethoven was her color, all of the musicians of Europe, It started with her.
They had musicians. Arthur Prysack.
Who was that? You see what I'm saying?
Okay, he came from Hartford.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mother. That's not in a history book. If she's going to school, the syllabus of that school is going to be biased against this information she needs to know. That means we need to have our own schools and leave them alone.
That's true, but this is
leave them alone.
You need to ask. There's somebody in your family will know different things about it. You need to ask. If your family has been in Hartford long enough, you need to ask questions. You need to ask.
Yeah, but she was saying that.
Let me just say this, because I think in some ways we're again duplicating, ourselves, only saying it a little different. We know we need the information if we're going to pass on something to others who do not know, as well as those who are coming after us. We have to have that information in some place, and it has to be stored in such a way so that anyone can gain access if they desire. Of course, with the technology today, if we compile the information, it's really not a difficult task to put it on a DVD.
Oh, that's right.
Please, please, this is the thing. People my people, my generation don't Google.